Jada is back at it here to give everyone my very first Walking Dead Season 9 episode reaction video. But before I continue with that, it's extremely important, if you're not caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching The Walking Dead, that you take the initiative and pay attention to this episode title, which of course I'll put in the description for you. If that's the case and you find out that you're not caught up, I suggest, and so does everybody else, that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. This is going to be The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode number 1. Title of this episode is called The New Beginning. This will be my reaction, review, recap of the episode. It's an episode I've seen before. I'm just doing a reaction to it to have it on my channel and reacting to all the Walking Dead episodes due to the fact that they announced that Season 11 of The Walking Dead is going to be the final season of the main Walking Dead show. We start off 18 months into the future, or 18 months have passed since Rick defeated Negan. The communities of Alexandria, Hilltop, Sanctuary, Oceanside, and the Kingdom have rebuilt what they can to make a more viable society. Rick and Michonne are raising Judith and overseeing Alexandria. Maggie has given birth to her and Glenn's child, which she named for her late father, Herschel, and she has defeated Gregory in an election to become the leader of the Hilltop, but is still distressed about Rick's decision to keep Negan alive, as she should be. Carol and Ezekiel at the Kingdom have grown as a couple, surprisingly. Daryl and Eugene oversee the remaining saviors at the Sanctuary, where infertile ground makes it difficult to grow anything at that particular place. And then Rick leads a group up into the remains of what was Washington, D.C. to salvage pioneering supplies such as plows, canoes, seed samples, and covered a wagon from a museum. This is made difficult by the need to cross over a floor made of weakened glass, under which a horde of walkers have amassed. Now, Ezekiel actually falls through on the last crossing, but they have tied themselves together with rope to catch each other, and Carol and others quickly rescue him. They head back to the communities with their haul, and then they find a recent rainstorm has raised water levels in a river and destroyed one of the bridges towards the Hilltop. Now, while Rick suggests that they can get to Alexandria and wait out the water levels, Maggie wants to get back to her child at the Hilltop and lets Rick's group take the supplies to Alexandria. And then Rick's group continues on, but the wagon gets stuck in the mud, or the muddy part of the road, I should say. As walkers bear down on them, they decide to abandon the supplies and come back for them later. Ken, who's a new character that we're introduced, goes back to cut loose the horses, but ends up being bitten by Walker. Despite them amputating his arm and immediate medical care, he still dies, and sometime later, Maggie talks to Tammy and Earl Rose, Ken's parents, who are new characters, who are angry their son died for nothing of value, since the supplies will ultimately go to the saviors at the Sanctuary, which is true. And then they hold a funeral for Ken, overseen by Gregory. Later, Gregory talks to Earl over a shot of whiskey, suggesting that the election was illegitimate and that others, like himself, are angry. Rick, Daryl, and Michonne bring the recovered supplies to the Sanctuary. Daryl sees graffiti on the wall still proclaiming loyalty to Negan. Daryl talks with Rick about no longer wanting to be the one in charge of the Sanctuary and prefers the old way of being in smaller groups with people he can trust. Carol talks to Daryl alone and offers to take over the Sanctuary for him, as she is somewhat concerned that Ezekiel has indicated he wants to marry her. If she likes him, why would she be... boy. Michonne, after seeing Negan's name at the wall at the Sanctuary and inspired by a display at the museum, suggests to Rick that they establish a charter between the communities to act as a new code of laws, a new constitution, so to speak, but they want to call it a charter. At the Hilltop, Maggie is walking Herschel to sleep when Gregory tells her someone has defaced Glenn's grave. Oh boy. She goes there but is assaulted by a hooded man. Enid and others come to her rescue, revealing the man to be Earl. Maggie calls Gregory, or she knows that Gregory is the one that convinced Earl to do this, who does not deny his act and taunts her that she will refuse to run off to Alexandria for help because Negan is being held prisoner there. And then Gregory attempts to kill Maggie, but she overpowers him. The next day, Rick and Michonne come to visit Hilltop, and Rick tries to get Maggie to agree to give supplies to the Sanctuary and help with repairing the bridge. She asserts that she will only provide supplies if the Sanctuary supply half the workforce for the work on the bridge. And then Maggie tells Rick that she no longer is following his way. And then before they leave, Maggie has Gregory hanged to death while Rick and Michonne look on in horror. And that's the end of the episode. So I didn't really like this episode all that much because it kind of just, I don't know, there's more of a story they could have shown and they didn't show it. They just did a time skip. And there was no Negan at all in this episode. There was no showing Maggie give birth to Herschel, and I felt that was something that we needed to see. But it is what it is. But yeah, I didn't like the episode as much. I'm kind of surprised, but it kind of was boring at times, and not a lot happened. Like a new character dies that we don't know anything about, which was Tammy and Earl's son, and it just, I don't know, some of it was kind of pointless. So I'm going to give the episode a 7.0 out of 10. That's kind of low, but it is what it is. As far as the character of the episode, well, Maggie, obviously. It was cool that Gregory died because he was just a sniveling little twit, so to speak, in that. But I'm really upset that we didn't see Negan in this particular episode, especially after what happened at the end of Season 8 of The Walking Dead. We needed to see Negan. We needed to see what Negan's up to, but we didn't get that in this. So you've heard what I have to say. Now it is your turn. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you like this episode, A New Beginning for Season 9, the premiere, go ahead and smash that like button. And maybe you're like me and didn't really like this episode all that much. Although I gave it a 7, that's a strong score compared to some TV shows. But if you're like The Walking Dead in general, go ahead and smash the like button as well. If anybody that you know would be interested in this, share the video to them. Don't forget to leave me a comment with your thoughts on the episode. You can tell me about your score, or really, realistically, anything Walking Dead related. And last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.